Hello guys, how are you doing? It's very nice to have you again on Tuesday for the English class. How are you doing? From where are you looking at me? From which cities? We are having some technical problems today, so I hope that you are patient with us today, okay? I hope you're patient. Are you listening to me? Are you listening to me, guys? We're having some technical problems, so let's try to pay as much attention as we can, okay? So are you watching me from which parts of Colombia? I always like to ask from which parts of Colombia I am being listened from. Remember guys that these classes are given to you thanks to the work that together that Andes University and Puntaje Nacional have created. They have an alliance for you to have these private lessons online every Tuesday. Okay, so let's start with the class. When I'm talking about simple, that is like the title of today's class, I'm talking about the present simple. So this is what we're going to be doing today. Today we're going to learn what the present simple is, what the grammatical structure of the present simple is, when it's important to use the present simple, always what is most important to learn in English is the use. More than the grammatical structures is the use, okay? Then we have exercises and test practice as always. So let's start. We have here like a graph representing which period of time we are talking about. Today, as it is the simple present, we're talking about the present. When we see the other topics, the past and the future, we are going to move in the line, okay? So the simple present tense in English is used to describe an action that is regular, true, or normal, okay? So it's very simple. All the things that are regular, for example, your routines, your daily routines, regular, true, for example, a fact. A fact is something that is never going to change. For example, that a dog has 4 legs. It is a fact. And to express those facts, you use present simple. And what is normal is the same, okay? So let's check the form. First, we have that to conjugate present simple, we use the verb in infinitive. So this part is in Spanish so that you can understand better. Para conjugar el presente simple usamos el verbo en infinitivo de la siguiente forma. So in the verb in infinitive means the verb in the base form, yeah? So we have talk, eat, learn, but what is important that you remember is that for the third person, when we are writing or speaking in the present simple, we need to put an S at the end of the verb. So for I, you, we, and they, we put the verb in infinitive. That is, I talk, you talk, we learn, they do, they go, yeah? No problem. Just the subject and the conjugation of the verb. But then, for the third person, that is he, she, and it, we have to put an S at the end of the verb. For example, he eats, she talks, or it goes, yeah? Remember that it is a particle that we use to talk about objects or animals, okay? Okay, let's continue. Remember guys that if you have any question, you write it down or you try to pin it somewhere in your computer, in your cell phone, and at the end of the session we're gonna have time to solve all the doubts. Okay, the spelling for the verb in the third person differs depending on the ending of that verb. So what happens? Remember that for the third person we have to put an S at the end of the verb, yeah? But depending on the way the verb ends, we put an S or an ES or an IS, okay? So let's check these differences that we have. So for verbs that end in O, CH, SH, SS, or X or Z, we add ES. on the third person. So it will not go goes, like G-O-S, goes, but goes. Catch, catches, not catch. Wash, washes. Kiss, kisses. Fix, fixes. Buzz, buzzes. Why? Because if we put only the S, it will be phonetically impossible to pronounce that word. Okay? It will be impossible to pronounce the word if we put just an S at the end. I hope it is clear. It's super simple. I'm gonna try to say it in Spanish. Entonces, para los verbos que terminan con O, CH, SH, SS, X o Z, no se agrega solamente una S, sino una ES. ¿Por qué agregamos ES? Porque fonéticamente la pronunciación sería difícil o imposible de hacer. ¿Cómo haríamos una pronunciación de kiss poniéndole una S más? Kiss. Entonces tenemos que poner la ES para que se note que estamos hablando en presente simple de la tercera persona. Sería kisses. Igual que fix. Fixes. No, tenemos que poner la ES para que el sonido sea coherente. ¿Ok? Let's continue. Number 2, we have verbs that end in a consonant plus Y. We remove the Y and change it for an IS. So marry, marries. Study, studies. So what happens here? Lo que pasa aquí es que cuando termina consonante y la letra Y, que en el español, en el inglés se usa también como una vocal, como el sonido de la vocal I, tenemos que cambiar la Y por una I normal, una I latina. Y agregamos la ES. Entonces, marry, marries, study, studies, carry, carries, and worry, worries. Si se dan cuenta, porque igual, worries, carries, sería fonéticamente inapropiado o imposible de pronunciar. Y al final tenemos una nota. For verbs that end in vowel and Y, porque las de antes eran consonante y Y. Por ejemplo, la R y la Y, la D y la Y, la R y la Y. Ahora vamos a ver para las que terminan con consonante y luego la Y. Para esto sí, como lo anterior es una vocal, esto puede unirse en un solo sonido y podemos utilizar solo la S. Entonces para play escribimos plays, enjoy, enjoys y say, says. Para las que terminan vocal Y, no hay problema, agregamos solamente la S. Okay, I hope it's clear. Okay, now we're going to start talking about the structure. So to make a negative sentence in English, we normally use do, don't, or doesn't, with all verbs except to be and modal verbs that are can, might, should, and others. So for this is the present simple, okay? For the affirmative, you say you speak French. If we want to say negative, we just add this particle, don't. You don't speak French. Present simple, as the name says, is very simple. You just have to put the subject, the verb in infinitive, and the complement that can be a word, 2 words, is not important. Just the subject, that here is you, the verb speak, and the complement that is French. Then we have the negative, that we need to use the auxiliary don't. I hope that you know the auxiliary do. That is super simple also. So you don't speak French. We are making the negative statement of the same sentence. You speak French, you don't speak French. ¿Por qué usamos don't? En el inglés no podemos decir you no speak French. Eso es incorrecto. Nosotros, para hacer una negación en el presente siempre debemos utilizar el auxiliar, que como ustedes ya saben, aquí el auxiliar no es el verbo hacer, aquí el auxiliar no tiene ningún significado, solamente nos está ayudando a que la negación sea gramaticalmente correcta. Eso es la única función que hay ahí. ¿Listo? Porque si decimos you not speak French, es como decir en español tú no hablar francés. Entonces, ¿cómo diríamos nosotros que tú, en español diríamos tú no hablas francés? Pero entonces, como nosotros aquí no le agregamos a speak, como el verbo para nosotros en infinitivo es hablar, pero cuando yo estoy hablando de ti digo hablas, tú no hablas, para poder, digamos que compensar esa falta que tenemos en el español, agregamos aquí el auxiliar do. Es lo mismo que el español, solo que aquí como no ponemos, digamos que no conjugamos el verbo en inglés en la misma manera que en el español, entonces tenemos que poner la partícula o el auxiliar do. Aquí en negación don't. You will see that we add don't between the subject and the verb. We use don't when the subject is I, you, we, or they. But when we have he, she, or it that are the third person, we use doesn't, okay? Just don't or doesn't. It's the same that with all the verbs, that for the third person are conjugated in a different way, okay? So for the affirmative, we have he speaks German, and for the negative, he doesn't speak German. Just try to remember that we use don't for I, you, we, and they, and that we use doesn't for the third person, that is he, she, and it. Okay? Good. Now we have the uses of the present simple that as I told you before, is like the most important part of understanding English, to know the use. Sometimes you have in your head very, very clear the grammatical structure and everything on the structure and the form. But what is important is to know how to use it and when to use it. If you remember those things, probably the grammatical aspect is going to come to your mind easily. Okay? So first use, for repeated or regular actions in the present time period. So for example, regular actions, something that you, for example, do every day. Something that happens every day. For example, I take the train to the office. That is a fact, that you take the train to the office every day. It's a regular action. Or you take the school bus to go to school every day. The train to Berlin leaves every hour. You see, it is a regular thing, a repeated thing. John sleeps 8 hours every night during the week. So it is a repeated or a regular action, okay? The second use, for facts, as I told you. The President of the United States lives in the White House. It is a fact. You cannot change that. Maybe in the future they will put the President to live in a different house, but for the moment, it is a fact that the President lives in the White House. A dog, as I told you, has 4 legs. It is a fact. We come from Switzerland. So, for example, I can say we come from Colombia. It is a fact that we are Colombians. We cannot change that, okay? 3, for habits. So this is like for your daily routine. Yeah, for the daily routine. I get up early every day. Carol brushes her teeth twice a day. They travel to their country house every weekend. So it is a habit. It's something that you do every day. And you use the present simple to express habits, okay? Number 4, for things that are always generally true. Always or generally. So it rains a lot in winter. It is generally true. Yeah, well, it is not always true that it rains a lot in winter because every winter is different, but it is a kind of general law. It's something that generally happens. The Queen of England lives in Buckingham Palace. So, yeah, she spends a lot of time there, but maybe she doesn't spend all her time there. Or they speak English at work. It is always true that people speak English at work, or not always, generally true. The idea is that you use the present simple to express this kind of ideas. Okay? As you see, we, as at the beginning of the class, we said that we were going to see what the present simple is, and we just checked what it was. The grammatical structure, we check it together. How to use it, we also check it. So I hope that everything about the present simple for today was clear to you, and now we are going to check the questions that you may have about the topic, okay? Good. Let's exercise our brains. So for the first one, I want you to, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I want you to put the verb in the correct form for the present simple to complete the sentences, okay? So now we have some questions that are from the test practice. This means that these questions might be found in exams of Saber 11, okay? So let's check the questions. We use do only to negate, to make it a negation, Juanis, and to make questions. But to make affirmative sentence, we do not use the auxiliary do. Daniel, you're saying that it is D? We are in the first one. We are in the first one. What is the answer for number one? That one is confusing. I want you to write number one and the answer. So we are in number one, guys. Don't go ahead. So most of you say that number one is D. Very good, Humberto. The answer is B. Thank you. Humberto always said it was B. Guys, remember that we use replies only for the third person. That is he, she, or it. Okay? So the answer is B, reply. Good. Now let's check number two. Put number two and your answer. Paola, as I said before, reply because we are talking in plural. People's opinion. So it is reply. Very good, guys. Number two is C. Because science is, it will be in the third person, it. It relies on evidence, but there are not scientific studies that show testable explanations for astrology. Very good. Let's check some other exercises. Number 3 and 4. Very good, guys. So the answer for number 3 is A. And now, guys, number 4. I want you to tell me what is the answer for number 4. It says, but the modern use of the term means a continued image that doesn't change. Why doesn't? Because image will be it. It will be part of the third person.